This is the Galaxy A24, one of Samsung's more affordable A-series mid-rangers. This one doesn't have 5G, but it's got an AMOLED display with a high refresh rate and promises some seriously long battery life. I'm Baloch for Tech Opium, and let's see what the Galaxy A24 is all about in our full review. The Galaxy A24 is a budget-level phone, but it manages to stand out from the crowd with quite a few enticing features. Samsung has switched from LCD to AMOLED this time around and increased the base storage. They've also improved the battery life, and you get an up-to-date Samsung software package. The A24 isn't a waterproof phone though, like the more expensive models, and you don't get 5G support here or stereo speakers. The design here is a bit different from last year's A23 4G. The plastic back panel is again flat and glossy, but instead of a camera island there are individual black circles for each camera. Also, the back doesn't taper into the rounded plastic frame, there's a sharper edge here. Like I mentioned, the display has been revamped. It's a 6.5-inch AMOLED with a 1080p resolution and a 90Hz refresh rate. Because of the AMOLED tech, content is even more contrasty than on LCD panels with deep blacks. There's no HDR support here, but the colors are accurate without a bluish tinge like what we experienced on the previous model, and this time around you actually get color settings to further tweak them with. Max brightness is also head and shoulders above what we experienced on the A23. On the A24, we measured a maximum of 460 nits with a manual slider, and this can boost to over 1000 nits in auto mode when you need it. The refresh rate handling is a step backwards though. You get 90 Hz to smooth out your swiping and scrolling, but it isn't adaptive on the A24 and won't dial down when idling to save energy. For audio, the Galaxy A24 has a headphone jack and a single bottom firing speaker. Its loudness is just average and the sound quality is unimpressive. You can listen for yourself with a provided link and compare to other devices too. You can wake up and unlock the Galaxy A24 with a responsive side-mounted fingerprint reader built into the power button. And the phone comes with 128 gigs of storage on board and is expandable on top of that through microSD. One of the main reasons to get a budget Samsung phone over some competitors is that you get Samsung software suite. It's One UI 5.1 based on Android 13, like you'd get on the flagships. There are a handful of features missing that you'd find on the more expensive models like Samsung DeX, but still, you get almost everything here. To find out more about the specific features of One UI 5.1, you can check out our dedicated video. The chipset of the Galaxy A24 is a MediaTek Helio G99. It's no chart topper, but it's meant to provide decent performance for the money. In benchmarks, it does a decent job, even outperforming last year's Galaxy A23 4G. Still, the level here isn't enough to play heavy games smoothly, and you may encounter some longer loading times here and there. At least the thermal management is excellent, as you'd expect with such a processor. Just like last year, the Galaxy A24 packs a 5000 mAh battery. The battery life is even better this time around though, with the A24 earning an excellent endurance rating of 141 hours in our tests. The phone supports 25-watt charging, which you don't get a charger in the box. With a proper Samsung adapter, we were able to charge from 0 to 46% in half an hour. Finally, let's talk about the cameras. Like last year, the A24 has a 50-megapixel main cam, a 5-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 2-megapixel macro cam. No depth sensor this time around though. The main camera saves 12.5 megapixel photos by default due to pixel binning. These daylight shots look pretty good with low noise, great contrast, vibrant colors, and wide enough dynamic range. There is sufficient detail and in general the rendition is nice without heavy over-sharpening. There's no depth sensor but the performance in portrait mode is still good with decent subject separation. In low light, the main cam's photos are well exposed with good contrast and likable saturated colors. The detail level is subpar though and the dynamic range is rather narrow. If you enable the night mode, you get brighter photos that have wider dynamic range and fewer blown highlights. The amount of detail is still uninspiring but these photos are usable. The Galaxy A24's video capture maxes out at 1080p resolution. These videos from the main camera are decent. The detail is okay, noise is low, colors are true to life, and the dynamic range is good. We are not fans of how unnatural the foliage looks but all other subjects look fine. The electronic stabilization works great here too. Now on to the ultra-wide camera. Its 5-megapixel photos are rather poor. They're over-sharpened with mediocre detail and a bluish tinge. As expected, the ultra-wide's low-light photos are poor as well. They're often too dark to see what's on them. There's no support for night mode here either. The 1080p videos from the ultra-wide camera are alright with an acceptable level of detail. The colors are cooler than they should be though. 2-megapixel close-ups from the macro cam are unimpressive. The colors and dynamic range are okay but you can't expect much detail at this resolution. We did like the selfies though from the new 13-megapixel front-facing cam. They're great with plenty of detail and a balanced rendition. The colors are accurate and there's a wide dynamic range. So that's the Samsung Galaxy A24. I was pleasantly surprised by the improvements here over last year. The display especially, that was one of the main downsides of the A23 and the new one is so much nicer. Plus, the battery life is even better now and we like the new selfie cam too. Compared to the more expensive Samsungs, you are missing ingress protection and 5G connectivity and the speaker quality isn't the best. But for the price, it's hard to find a more well-rounded phone than the A24 and is worth recommending. Thanks for watching guys. If you're looking for alternatives to the Galaxy A24, one option could be the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 4G or you can look into the Moto G53. Let us know what you think and I'll see you on the next one.